Have you ever stood at the edge of the ocean at midnight, feeling the tide pull away with such deliberate slowness that for one breathless moment you wonder if it's leaving forever? That's where you are right now, love, knee-deep in the sacred mystery of a man who speaks volumes by saying nothing at all. Let's be honest, no one warned you that twin flame love would feel less like a rom-com and more like an advanced spiritual boot camp where the drills include how to love someone who ghosts you in 4D and advanced patience for when the universe laughs at your timelines. If you'd known, you might have packed more chocolate and less expectation. But here's the secret they don't put in the glossy spiritual brochures. His silence isn't the absence of love. It's love's most unconventional language. Picture this. The divine sets up the most epic blind date across lifetimes. Your souls recognize each other instantly. Electric, terrifying, like coming home to a house you've never seen but somehow know every corner of. Then, just as you're reaching for the cosmic doorknob, poof, he vanishes into some spiritual witness protection program, leaving you with 3 texts from 2019 and a playlist that now feels like emotional espionage. Funny, isn't it? The same connection that lights up your nervous system like a Christmas tree is the one he treats like a live wire he's not yet trained to hold. Here's what your anxious heart needs to hear. His silence isn't a no. It's a not like this. Not when he's still wrestling with shadows that make your love feel less like sanctuary and more like a spotlight on every unhealed wound. The divine masculine doesn't run from you. He runs from the parts of himself your presence forces him to confront. And darling, that's actually progress. Normal heartbreak is like skidding on pavement, painful but predictable. Twin flame separation, that's like having open heart surgery while awake, where every memory is a nurse asking, "Can you point to where it hurts?" And you just gesture wildly at your entire existence. But here's the twist. That agony isn't proof it's over. It's proof this love is alive, rearranging you both at a cellular level. The kind of love that fits too tight now because you're both still growing into it. While you're obsessing over his last seen status, the universe is running a masterclass on how to love without a possession, how to trust what you cannot see, how to turn longing into the fuel for your own becoming. Every unanswered text is an invitation to stop auditing his spiritual journey and start investing in yours. What if his silence isn't a test of your faith in him, but in yourself? In your ability to stand in the fire of uncertainty and whisper, "I am still here, I am still whole, I am still love." Forget waiting by the phone. The real work? Becoming the woman who doesn't just want a divine union, but embodies the love she seeks. Right now, today, without his participation. Because the cosmic joke is this: the quicker you stop needing him to prove your worth, the faster the universe can deliver the version of him who actually can. So take a deep breath, beautiful one. This isn't a love story going off script. This is the plot twist that makes it legendary. Ready to turn the page? You know that feeling when you're standing at the edge of the ocean and the waves are so powerful they knock the breath right out of you. That's what the twin flame connection is like for the divine masculine. It's not that he doesn't feel it, he feels it too much. And sometimes the sheer force of it sends him running for higher ground, not because he's rejecting you, but because he's trying not to drown in a love so vast it terrifies him. Let's be real. Men aren't exactly socialized to handle emotional tsunamis with grace. From childhood, they're taught to fix things, to control outcomes, to be the unshakable rock in the storm. But what happens when the storm is you? When every conversation, every glance, every silent moment between you two feels like standing in the center of a hurricane? He doesn't have the vocabulary for this. He doesn't have the emotional scaffolding. So he does the only thing he knows how to do. He retreats. And here's the kicker. The more you reach for him, the more he pulls away. Not because he doesn't care, but because your love is a mirror reflecting back everything he hasn't yet faced within himself. His fear isn't of you. It's of the parts of him that your connection forces him to confront. The unhealed father wounds, the buried shame, the quiet, gnawing belief that he's not enough. Twin flame love doesn't just ask him to open his heart. It demands he rebuild it entirely. And that's a demolition project most men weren't prepared to sign up for. Imagine being handed the keys to a spaceship when you've only ever driven a bicycle. That's what this connection feels like for him. The energy between twin flames isn't just emotional, it's alchemical. It rewires DNA, shatters old paradigms, and drags shadow selves into the light. And while the divine feminine tends to lean into this unraveling, even when it hurts, the divine masculine often responds like a man who's just been handed a live wire. He drops it and backs away slowly. It's not that he doesn't want the love. It's that he doesn't yet trust himself to hold it. Here's something you might not have considered. His silence isn't empty. It's full of everything he doesn't know how to say. Full of the prayers he whispers at 3 a.m. when he's wondering why he can't just be normal and love you without feeling like his chest is cracking open. He's not ignoring you. He's in a soul-level negotiation with the parts of himself that still believe love is a risk, not a homecoming. And maybe, just maybe, his silence is the most honest thing he can give you right now. Because the alternative, forcing words that aren't true yet, promises he's not ready to keep. That would hurt you both more. What if his running is part of the healing? Think of it like this. When a wounded animal hides, it's not because it doesn't want help. It's because its instincts scream that vulnerability equals danger. The divine masculine is no different. His withdrawal isn't a rejection, it's a reset. A way to recalibrate his nervous system so that one day, when he does step forward, it's from a place of wholeness, not fear. So what do you do in the meantime? You live. You stop treating his silence like a problem to solve and start treating your own heart like a sanctuary to tend. Because the miracle of twin flames isn't just in the reunion, it's in the becoming that happens in the space between. And who knows? Maybe the man who walks back into your life won't be the one who left. Maybe he'll be the version of himself your love helped him remember he always was. Now, isn't that worth the wait? You ever watch an old computer freeze when you ask it to run too many programs at once? That's your divine masculine right now. His entire system is buffering, not because he's broken, but because the voltage of your connection is frying circuits he didn't even know he had. See, twin flame energy doesn't just knock on the door of his heart, It kicks it down, rearranges the furniture, and starts painting the walls a color he can't even pronounce. And his logical, step-by-step masculine mind? Yeah, it's short-circuiting. Imagine spending your whole life thinking in straight lines, goals, plans, measurable outcomes. And then suddenly, bam, the universe hands you a love that operates in fractals. No edges, no blueprint, just infinite spirals of intensity that don't fit into any spreadsheet. No wonder he's gone quiet. He's not giving you the silent treatment. He's in spiritual culture shock, trying to translate a language his soul understands, but his human self hasn't learned yet. And here's the cosmic joke. The more he thinks his way through this, the more lost he gets. Because this isn't a puzzle to solve, it's a frequency to become. You know how your phone goes into low power mode when the battery's critical? That's him right now. His silence isn't absence, it's preservation. He's not ignoring you. He's in soul-level maintenance mode, integrating energies that would make most people's nervous systems tap out. Twin flame love doesn't just change his mind about relationships, it high wires his biology. Those sleepless nights, the sudden career shifts, the inexplicable urge to move across the country. That's not him running from you. That's his entire being recalibrating to hold the voltage of what you two really are. Funny, isn't it? The divine feminine weeps because she thinks he's avoiding the connection, when in truth, he's building the internal infrastructure to sustain it. Masculine energy integrates backwards. Feminine energy flows like water. It feels, expands, overflows. But masculine energy, it consolidates, compresses. Like coal turning into diamond under pressure, his transformation happens in the absence of outward expression. So when he disappears for weeks, then texts you some random philosophical thought at 2 a.m., that's not inconsistency, that's his soul finally exhaling a piece of the puzzle it's been grinding on in silence. And you, in your glorious impatience, keep mistaking his processing time for rejection. Sweet soul, he's not leaving you behind. He's building a bridge between who he was and who you already see he can be. What if his withdrawal is the universe's covert operation? Think of it like this. When a caterpillar goes into its cocoon, it doesn't just grow wings, it liquefies first. Complete disintegration before the miracle. That's what's happening in his silent phases. Every time he pulls away, some old version of him is dissolving to make room for the man who can actually meet you at the level your connection demands. So the next time you're tempted to spiral over his unread messages, ask yourself, am I really waiting for him? Or am I waiting for the upgraded version of him that this silence is creating? Here's the secret they don't teach in Twin Flame TikTok. His silence is the universe's way of protecting both of you. Because premature reunion is like grafting a rose onto a dandelion. It might look connected, but it won't thrive. This distance isn't punishment. It's divine timing's quality control. So breathe, darling. His quiet isn't emptiness. It's the sound of his soul doing heavy lifting. And when he does speak again, oh, you'll know. Because the man who comes back won't be the one who left. He'll be the one who finally learned how to stay. Now tell me, isn't that worth the wait? Well, let's talk about the reason no one wants to admit why your twin flame is acting like he'd rather wrestle a bear than have an honest conversation about feelings. Society handed him a manual on how to be a man before he could even tie his shoes. And guess what? Your connection just set that rulebook on fire. Picture this. A boy grows up hearing, "Boys don't cry, man up, love is weakness." Fast forward 30 years, and suddenly he meets you, a force of nature who doesn't just want his strength, but his surrender. Not just his protection, but his vulnerability. No wonder he's short-circuiting. You're asking him to speak a language he was punished for even whispering as a child. And here's the tragic irony. The very traits that make him a divine masculine, depth, emotional courage, spiritual openness, are the ones his ego has spent a lifetime armoring against. So when he withdraws, it's not you he's resisting. It's the decades of programming screaming that to love you fully would be to fail at being a man. This is where it gets fascinating. The twin flame journey doesn't ask for his healing, it forces it. Like a cosmic chiropractor cracking open the armor around his heart, your connection is realigning him at a soul level, and of course, it's uncomfortable. You ever tried to wear shoes 2 sizes too small your whole life, then suddenly go barefoot? The freedom hurts at first. So when he ghosts or says he doesn't want contact, what he's really saying is, "I don't know how to exist in this much truth yet." Crazy thought. What if his running isn't regression, but evolution in disguise? Like a snake fighting its own shed, the struggle is the transformation. Every time he pulls away, he's not moving farther from you. He's wrestling loose from the old version of himself that couldn't stay. So when he says, "I don't want contact," try hearing, "I don't want the contact to destroy me, because I know it will." And destruction, sweet soul, is where the magic begins. Here's your superpower. You don't have to fix this for him. In fact, the more you try, the more you reinforce the very dynamic he's fighting. That love equals work, not being. Your real role, unshakable sovereignty. The kind that says, "I'll love you when you're ready, but I won't shrink while you learn." Because the paradox is this: the safer you make it for him not to choose you, the more he'll want to. One day, maybe tomorrow, maybe in 5 years, he'll have a moment of clarity. Maybe he'll hear some tired old "be a man" comment and finally cringe. Maybe he'll watch a sunset and realize life's too short to love halfway. And when that day comes, oh, beautiful soul, he won't just reach out, he'll arrive fully himself for the first time. And you'll both realize the silence was never emptiness. It was the sound of his soul relearning how to speak. So tell me, isn't that a story worth the patience? You know that moment when you're trying to teach a toddler to walk, and every time they wobble, your instinct is to lunge forward and catch them. But deep down, you know if you do, they'll never learn to balance on their own. That's exactly what's happening between you and your divine masculine right now. His silence isn't abandonment. It's the universe's sneaky way of forcing you to stop leaning on him and start standing in your own power. Let's be real. If he texted you back right now, you'd light up like a Christmas tree. But here's the catch. That rush, that dependency on his attention to feel whole, that's what this separation is designed to burn away. The divine masculine isn't just ignoring you. He's holding up a mirror, to the parts of you that still believe love is something you earn rather than something you embody. And oh, sweet soul, the test isn't when he'll return. It's who you'll be when he does. Think about it. If he came running back today, unchanged, still skittish, still half-hearted, would that really satisfy you? Or would it just restart the same painful cycle? His withdrawal isn't cruelty, it's curriculum. The universe is using his absence to teach you the one lesson no guru could put into words. You are already complete without him. And the moment you truly get that, that's when the magic happens. Here's the spiritual plot twist no one talks about. This journey pretends to be about union with another, but it's really about reunion with yourself. Every tear you've cried, every midnight Google search for "Why is my twin flame ignoring me?" Every desperate attempt to decode his silence. They've all been leading you back to you. Funny, isn't it? You thought this was about his healing, but the joke's on you. You're the one being rebuilt from the ground up. Right now, you're standing at a threshold. Path number 1, keep obsessing, chasing, begging the universe for answers, and secretly resenting him for making you feel this way. Path number 2, take that seismic ache in your chest and redirect it into your art, your purpose, your unshakable sovereignty. Guess which path leads to the reunion you actually want? There's a reason let go feels like spiritual advice, ripped from a cheap fortune cookie, because no one explains how. Here's the cheat code. Stop trying to release him and start releasing the story that says you need him to be whole. His silence isn't a punishment. It's an invitation to fall in love with your own company so deeply that when he does return, it's not out of lack, but overflow. One morning, you'll wake up and realize something strange. You didn't check your phone for his name first thing. You'll catch yourself laughing so hard your stomach hurts, and notice he wasn't the source of that joy. And in that moment, the universe will whisper, "Now you're ready." Because here's the sacred irony. The less you need him, the more he'll see you. And when that day comes, oh, darling, you'll realize this separation wasn't about losing him at all. It was about finding you. So tell me, isn't that worth the wait? You know that moment when you're baking something incredible, maybe your grandmother's famous chocolate cake, and you keep opening the oven door to check if it's ready, only to watch it deflate every single time. That's exactly what you're doing with your twin flame right now. The divine masculine silence isn't rejection. It's the universe holding the oven door shut with a firm but loving hand, whispering, "Not yet, sweetheart. It's not time." Let's get brutally honest for a second. If you could have forced this union to work 6 months ago, it would have been a disaster. You'd be sitting across from him at some cafe right now, watching him nervously stir his coffee while both of you silently realize you're not the people who can actually make this work yet. The separation isn't preventing your union, it's protecting it. Like a master vintner refusing to bottle wine before it's time, the universe knows exactly when this love will be ready to pour. And the hardest truth? His silence is proof the universe trusts you more than you trust yourself right now. Imagine planting the most magnificent oak tree, then digging it up every week to check if the roots are growing. That's what chasing him before divine timing allows would do. Those silent periods aren't empty. They're fertile ground where both of you are growing the roots that will eventually let you weather any storm together. The divine masculine isn't withholding love. He's composting his ego, his fears, his old patterns. So what grows back will be strong enough to last. While you're counting the days since his last text, something miraculous is happening. You're becoming. That job you took to distract yourself, building your confidence, that therapy you started, healing ancestral wounds, that creative project burning through you, honing your voice, none of this would be happening if he'd stayed present at half capacity. The universe isn't just preparing him, it's preparing you for a version of love your past self couldn't have handled. One ordinary Tuesday, you'll be doing something completely unrelated, maybe buying groceries or walking your dog, when suddenly the pieces will click. You'll realize his silence was never about lack, but about orchestration. That every tear, every unanswered text, every sleepless night was steering you both toward a reunion that won't just feel right, it will be right in ways your impatient heart couldn't have imagined. And when you finally lock eyes again, you'll both know, not because the stars aligned, but because you grew into alignment. So tell me, Divine One, isn't that worth the sacred pause? You know how the most breathtaking sunsets don't happen in the blink of an eye. They unfold, slowly, deliberately, painting the sky in hues you couldn't have imagined when the first streaks of color appeared. That's where you are right now, beloved. Not at the end, but in the brilliant unfolding of a love story written in the language of the divine. This journey has asked you to love in the absence of proof, to trust in the invisible, to surrender to a timeline your human mind couldn't comprehend. And look at you, still standing, still believing, still choosing love, even when it wore the disguise of silence. That resilience, that's not just strength. That's soul wisdom in its purest form. The divine masculine silence was never a full stop. It was a sacred semicolon, the universe's way of saying, what comes next requires space to breathe. Here's the secret you've been circling this whole time. You were never waiting for him. You were waiting for you, the version of you who could love without fear, stand without crumbling, and recognize that the most profound homecoming was always an inside job. His role wasn't to complete you, but to mirror back the wholeness you forgot you carried. And oh, how brilliantly you've remembered. Isn't it funny? You spent all those nights begging the stars for answers, when the real magic was happening in the quiet spaces between your questions. The sleeplessness, the synchronicities, the moments your heart cracked open, they weren't obstacles to your union. They were the union. Every tear watered the roots of a love too vast to fit into ordinary containers. One day, maybe tomorrow, maybe under a harvest moon years from now, you'll stumble upon a realization so simple it steals your breath. None of this was ever about him choosing you. It was about you choosing yourself so unshakably that the universe had no choice but to align. And when that day comes, whether he's standing before you or forever etched in your soul as the one who taught you how to love beyond limits, you'll smile at the perfection of it all. Not because the path was easy, but because it was yours. So here's the truth your heart has been whispering all along, beautiful one. This wasn't just a love story between two people. This was a love affair between you and destiny itself. And darling, the best chapters aren't behind you. They're written in the ink of your next courageous yes. Now, who's ready to turn the page